I needed to go to... It seemed that many of Lewis's books were about botany and zoology. That is something I hadn't expected to discover about him. He seemed more the religious type to me. The door to the cargo hold had been locked shut when we left the capital. It would only be opened again once we finally reached the eastern colonies. A particularly large painting was carefully covered with a blanket. I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of those tasteful artistic nudes, like the ones my adoptive father often sold to rich upper-class men of a certain age. The clockmakers from the province of Switzerland are the finest anywhere in the Protectorate. Of course, the senator owned a particularly fancy grandfather clock of Swiss origin. The gun deck was littered with all kinds of boxes that contained Senator Morton's belongings. I took from it that Mr. Morton must be a very rich man. Someone had left a plate on the floor near the boxes on the gun deck. I wondered who had been eating here, because that was generally not allowed. I needed to go to the...
Ah, Devon, you're right on time to help Danielle with dinner for the crew. Are you a good cook?
As if anybody can make a decent meal in this kitchen.
Golly, Danielle. You're on a ship, remember?
Really? I almost forgot. I was wondering where all the water came from.
Yes, you are still quite wet behind the ears. Now, boys, the water is cooking, and I expect you to make me proud while I clean and set the table. So get a move on and make me a nice stew.
So, Devon, ready to learn how to work miracles?
My adoptive parents weren't poor, but I'm quite used to getting the scraps.
Well, it's less than scraps that we have to deal with here. I saw a few sacks of rice, a bag of potatoes, and a pot of barley. There's also some dried meat and fish on the hooks. And maybe we can do something with those old carrots. They are getting moldy.
Oh, that sounds really bad. No wonder we're getting the same plain dishes every day.
It's not just bad, it's horrible. Where I come from, it's a crime to prepare dinner without a single piece of fresh produce.
Where are you from, then?
It's a long story, and I'd rather not tell. All right, we need a good hearty base for our stew. Could you find me either a bunch of potatoes or a pound of barley? No rice, please. I really hate rice.
It was a sack of... Little bits of food were still stuck on the inside of the pan. It seemed like Danielle had been in a rush when he washed the dishes. Cans of beans, peas and pickles lined the wall. The necessity of canned food meant it was kept on stock in abundance.
Potatoes, huh? You have good taste. Hey, Devon, that protectorate blue, it really looks too good on you. I mean, why does the captain like you so much?
I don't really know. Do you think he does?
Well, obviously, but I have heard about what happened with Ian up on deck. I just never expected the captain to reward you for that.
I didn't expect it either, but I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth.
I'm convinced that it was just a convenience, Devon. The captain must believe that having a steward to preserve some form of etiquette will help keep Morton at bay.
Why would the captain be afraid of Mr. Morton?
Afraid? I don't think so. Our captain just plays along with Morton's game. He moved a pawn, and that pawn is you. Remember that the senator is a powerful man, Devon. I heard he's the brother-in-law of Jonathan Vesey, the regent of the Eastern Colonies. Even though I don't really like protectorate officials, it is in our best interest to keep him happy. Now, will you please get me some fish or meat for this stew?
It was a cured fish.
The salt smell of cured fish. It will go well with some ground chili peppers. You probably love spicy food, right, Devon?
Even a dash of pepper freshens up most bland protectorate-made dishes. Good chili peppers do wonders.
Well, it's a shame then that we don't have any aboard the HLV Herald. They would have made this dish a lot more edible.
Why do you bring up chili peppers if we don't have any?
It's not just about the peppers, Devon. It's... Sometimes you suddenly realize that you dearly miss something you left behind. It can be as small as the taste of a tomato salsa prepared with fresh Malagueta peppers. But sometimes it's about other, more significant things.
I think I understand what you're going through. It must be hard to be at sea, always far away from your family.
The peppers grew in my garden, Devon. Every day of summer, a girl I knew would pick the ripe ones at noon, and I would watch her while she did.
Who was she?
Charlize was the property of my father's estate. But there, in that garden, she was free, Devon, singing a song while she picked the Malaguetas one by one. When we were together, I completely forgot why I was there and what she really was. A slave girl, forbidden fruit.
A person cannot be property. That is just plain wrong, and you know it.
It was not by my choice, Devon. It is how my country maintains a cheap labor force. But I truly loved her, slave or not. After numerous hot-blooded encounters behind a particularly beautiful pepper plant, I one day dared to brag about my exploits to my friends. When father found out, he said I had besmirched our family name, and worse, that of my fiancée. I felt ashamed. I never dared to face Charlize again.
So you ran away because you were ashamed? That's just cowardice.
Have you not listened? She was a black slave girl. Now look at me, Devon. I could never be with her, not where I'm from. If father died, I would have inherited her. It is wrong. It's not how things are supposed to go in the Kingdom of Brazil.
I'm so sorry. It must have been terrible for you.
Well, the stew is done. Go serve the crew on the twin deck. I'll be right there.
So, what you cooked up for us tonight, Andra? Another disappointment?
You alone bring enough of that to the table, Caleb. Besides, I wasn't the one cooking tonight.
If you were not cooking, Undra, who was?
Danielle, together with Devon here, made a fine stew for us.
You trust your kitchen to Ransburg?
Galley, Caleb. And yes, I do.
Well, it can't be worse than your tasteless grub now, can it?
Coming from you, I take that as a compliment.
I'm starving. Fill my bowl right up, Devon. It'd better be good.
Fish again. My guess the tater should make it kinda edible.
You should taste it, Bosun. It's quite an exotic mix of things. I like it. Whose recipe is this anyway?
It's Danielle's recipe. I merely assisted.
No, don't lie, Devon. You picked the ingredients.
I knew we were missing someone. What are you sneaking around the deck for all the time?
You were back there? Did you hear any strange sounds? I heard some eerie noises last night from the direction of the cargo hold.
What are you talking about, Rob? The cargo hold is locked while we're at sea. No one can enter till we make port.
But Bosun, I've heard it as well.
Ludlow? Where did...
It was just a few nights back. I was walking to my cabin, and suddenly the air around me went icy cold. Then, out of nowhere, comes this ghostly tune, mesmerizing me as I walk across the 'tween deck. Before I know it, darkness creeps over me. The next thing I remember was waking up in the crow's nest at 3 in the morning.
When I heard it, I could swear there was singing too. We're all doomed, Bosun.
It's a ship. It makes sounds at night.
Show some backbone, Rob. Do you really believe in fairy tales about sirens and mermaids luring men into their arms?
But someone or something made that music.
A hideous woman with razor-sharp teeth and a pale, dead face.
Well, that's good to know, right, Caleb? Even you might have a chance with this girl.
Bah, I don't need no woman. Women only bring bad luck to sailors like us.
Like us? You and I are not in any way alike, Caleb.
I wasn't talking about you, hash slinger. Since when are you a sailor?
Hold your tongue, snake.
Your
And
mother
here we
didn't
go
teach you to show
again.
some respect to your superiors?
You, my superior? I think not.
I own you, Andra. You and the likes of you are in my pocket.
I warn you, Caleb, don't push me.
I take back what I said. A hash slinger.
Why do they always have to fight?
Is tasteless.
I wouldn't want
It's
to be
because
you,
they're both
Caleb.
idiots,
Oh, so
Devon.
Officer, why are you here anyway? Are you not eating with the captain tonight?
With the senator as his guest, I'm afraid I will have to eat on my own for a while. But now I need to speak with Devon. In private. Good. We're finally alone. So, have you heard anything of interest today? Did any of the passengers bear their secrets to you while they stuffed their faces?
The physician tending to Officer Brunswick is missing a bottle of laudanum.
Garrick is old. He forgets things all the time. I wouldn't worry about that. Anything else?
Danielle seems to be a man on the run. He fled his country because he fell in love with a slave girl called Charlize.
Slave girl? He must be from the Catholic kingdoms, then. Viceroyalty of New Spain, perhaps.
It seems he has a rich family in Brazil.
Whatever the case, Danielle is an unwanted guest in the Protectorate. It's better for him if we keep this a secret. Well, it's getting late already, and I have a job for you. The captain is preparing himself for his late-night tea with Senator Morton in the captain's cabin. It's a friendly thing they do every other day. As you are the new steward, the captain has asked you to serve them.
You set this up, didn't you? I'm supposed to be eavesdropping on their conversation to find out what they are discussing.
Exactly. You're a quick learner, Devon. Now, make sure you find some way to stall for time while they discuss important matters. It is vital that they forget your presence so that you may listen long enough to discover what they are talking about. Sounds like a good plan, right?
Yes, it does. I think it might even work.
Well, you don't really have a choice. They're the captain's orders, after all. Go on then. They're waiting for you in the captain's cabin.
It is good to have you here, Mr. Morton. Now, as per your request, I have appointed one of the crew to the position of steward. I'd like you to meet Mr. Devon Rensburg. Perhaps you have noticed some of his work today?
No, I don't think I have. What does he do? Ah, this boy. Well, he seems to know how to be invisible, and that's the most important skill of a steward, if you ask me.
He is right, you know. Now fetch us some tea, Devon, with a soothing splash of brandy, please. I keep a flask of eau de vie in the cupboard behind the stairs. My apologies. It really is all very new to him. Now, what is it that you'd like to talk to me about, Lewis?
Nothing in particular. I just wanted to check on you, see if you needed any help or perhaps moral support. I mean, with our dear Mr. Brunswick injured by that crazy cabin boy, you must be quite shocked.
Oh, I am. Thank God Rupert is still alive.
But for how long? Do you know if we can do without his skills?
Rupert has been a dear friend for many years. I know we can't lose him. I can't lose him.
We have a long journey ahead of us, Cornelius, and I am afraid his condition is deteriorating. Will we make it to the colony in time, without his proper guidance?
Well, we're lucky that Rupert left his notes. They were enough to determine our course for the moment. If not for that, we would be hopelessly adrift.
I realized that if I acted busy, they might keep talking as if I weren't there, if I dared to keep them waiting.
I know how much you've done for the Protectorate and its cause, but if this affair delays us, I'm afraid your career might be in jeopardy.
I do understand your concern, but I am well aware of the importance of this mission. I could do without you constantly reminding me.
I am not pressuring you, Cornelius, don't worry. I'm only concerned.
And so am I, Lewis. How's your niece doing, by the way? Has she accustomed to life at sea?
I think the sea breeze had her a bit on edge the past few days. She's trying to push my buttons all the time. Sometimes it's hard to admit, but Tabitha frequently reminds me of her aunt. She's got the same feisty way of talking. Quite unladylike, but undeniably charming.
I wondered what else they might have to say.
You still miss Eleanor a lot, don't you?
Of course I miss her. Eleanor was my wife, for God's sake. Or did you also believe what they wrote about our marriage in the papers?
No, I trust your word when you say you loved her. Journalists are parasites. They live on gossip.
I can't deny that we had our fair share of problems through the years, but so do most couples. The emptiness she left behind when she passed can be quite distracting. I miss her every single day.
What do you miss most about her?
Eleanor was a stubborn woman, as well as a stunningly beautiful one. I would be lying if I said that I miss our arguments. No, I miss her form, her presence. But most of all, I miss her smell.
You're only human, Lewis.
Yes, it's a condition I have to bear with, I'm afraid. Now, this would be the right time to take a sip of that brandy tea you promised me.
Oh, good God. Rendsburg, where are you, boy?
I am sorry, sir. The tea is ready.
Well, it's about time.
Try to be a little faster, Rendsburg, please. Now, get yourself to bed. I expect you to bring me my breakfast in the morning.
Devon! Oh, Devon, thank God you are still awake. Everybody is calling me a fool, but you'll believe me, right?
Of course I'll believe you, Rob. Never let others belittle you.
She's back again. I've heard her song, trying to snare me in the darkness. The she-devil wants my soul.
What did her song sound like?
How do I describe it? It was mesmerizing, really. Eerie sounds of a tinkling song, without words. She's on the tween deck right now. Please take a look for me, Devon. Prove to the others that I'm not lying.